Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Or good evening to Europe.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Or good evening.
Yeah, this is Bilal. I mean, we'll give the introductions in a second.
Hello.
But wait, is this in the Discord? Did we throw that in there?
Yeah, I threw it in there. Threw it in there, and it said people were waiting.
Nice. We got five viewers. What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Cool.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll just kick things right off because there's a new face. So Bilal's never been at one of these weekly Wednesdays before. So for everybody that's just joining us today or has been here in the past, Jason and I do these weekly Wednesdays where we'll just chat about, the status of where we're at, what we're building, and just have a conversation. And I think the biggest news of this week, the most exciting part, is that the team's expanded. So just super happy. This is Bilal. He's our founding product engineer at Jellypod. And just couldn't be more excited to be working with you and Bilal. And it's, it's great. Yesterday was your first day, and today put right on into the weekly Wednesday. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. No, I'm super excited to be here. Hey guys, Bilal, as Pearson said, this is my second day at Jellypod, but I'm so excited to be here. I've been working in generative AI is a huge passion of mine. I've been working on this for like the last 2-3 years, right? And Pearson and I actually we met last year randomly, and we were just talking about about generative AI, and it was like I remember thinking like this guy's so cool, but he was moving to LA and stuff, and I was like hopefully we'll stay in touch, and life comes full circle in that way. And 1 year later, I'm here now, finally joined the pod. Or the jelly. I don't know what the short form for jelly pod. Yeah.
This is
like it. The pod. Come join the pod, everybody.
Come join the pod. Yeah. No, but I'm so excited to be here. I think for me, just especially at this stage, it's so important to get the right energy for everyone, because it's not about right or wrong, it's about a fit. I think that's very important. And so I've known Pearson, I guess on and off for a year now. So I think we vibe well. And then I met Jason last week, and Jason's as cool as Pearson. I was like, this is awesome. This is like amazing crew. These guys are gonna kill it. So I'm gonna definitely join them. So here I am.
That was probably pretty cool because, for everybody, I'm in LA right now. Jason and Bilal are in Seattle, and we'll all be moving down to San Francisco soon. And I wasn't at that first conversation. So like when you and Jason met, it wasn't like me kind of gluing together at all, like anything. It was kind of just completely candid conversation. I mean, how was that? Like, what did you guys talk about?
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I wasn't sure. I mean, I feel like, it's like always the first 5 minutes, you're like, and then we just started talking. And I feel like I talked about Jason was just like letting me talk much. And I was like, I hope Jason got his word in, because I get too excited when I meet someone, who's I'm connecting, and I'll just like throw a bunch of words at them. But it was great. It was a great conversation for sure.
Yeah. It was fantastic. I think what everyone on the call and everyone who's using Jellypod, you'll quickly see, I feel like Bilal's passion come through in the product. And, I got a taste of that passion on our, in our first meeting. And that's all I needed. So I couldn't be more excited. And, yeah.
Totally. I mean, so yesterday, if anybody has created a voice clone in the last 12-ish hours, 16 hours, you might notice that they probably sound better. I mean, Bilal grinded out thousands of lines of code yesterday.
Thousands.
And
doubled the code base.
Overnight. Hopefully, I think the voice clones probably will sound better. So I know we released guest cloning as one of the last things in launch week, where it allows you to send a link to a friend, and then they can clone their voice, which then you can use in your podcast as a host in your account. So all that cloning should be a little bit better. We'll do a little bit better job at removing background noise so that there's not that if you're recording on your phone or on your computer and there's some noise in the background, hopefully that significantly goes down now. So
Yeah.
all right, so that was cool.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think so this week, I guess it'd be interesting. I mean, now like this week for me, this is what I've been talking about last week as well. But I'm stoked on this regeneration stuff. Like it sounds like a broken record now, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. I haven't showed everybody what this is going to look like really, but one of the biggest problems that people have, is you have to spend a bunch of credits. It's pretty expensive. Honestly, the biggest reason why people are dissatisfied with the product right now is that there is a high cost for errors, where there are system errors that there's text that either is just pronounced wrong, weird, one block is weird, and we have to regenerate essentially the entire podcast, or at least one chapter of the podcast. And you play this game of ping pong where you have like a mistake in like the first sentence and everything else is good. Now you regenerate that chapter, and then the last sentence gets bad. You like play ping pong back and forth, and it's like super frustrating. We see that all the time in intercom. But all of that very soon will be fixed, and it'll be cheaper to generate podcasts. You can generate more podcasts on the free and all of our paid plans, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I love it. I think this was like and something you guys have been talking about how really it's you get AI is like so tantalizing because it gets you this 90% real quick, but then the last 10% is like, where things crumble and you're like, I'm almost there. And I've been guilty of trying to build something where you could just one shot it, but yeah, it's like this long tail. So having the editing feature like the one hopefully I'll get out this week is like just previewing a conversation between a couple of hosts before you generate the whole thing, so you because sometimes you understand the voice of one and the other, but just pairing them together, it's like it could be peanut butter jelly, but it could also be water or oil. So just having those little previews and making sure that people feel like they are in control of the process and they're getting their money's worth, I think is going to be a huge differentiator.
Totally. I left a comment on like on the issue there that you were working on this. How are you thinking about that preview? Like, are you thinking that this is like a temporary thing where it just helps you decide on the host? Is it something that lives like at the podcast like more persistently? I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool combo. I think the way I was thinking was first, I always like to start simple. So having a preview where you select a couple of hosts, and then I was thinking of having a couple of example prompts. So it's not the same preview. So it could be, hey, how's it going? Or quick one. And I think we want either probably four, like two multi-turns, right? So having maybe 3 or 4 examples of which randomly we go through. So every time you preview, you get different, but it's something generic enough that people have back and forth. So that was the start. But I do like your idea. I'm like, maybe ultimately, because right now we can generate hosts, maybe we generate pairs of hosts, because we can pair the hard guy, the skeptical guy with the warm and loving compliment, and just give people those recipes almost where we pair match based on personalities, and we can showcase how the back and forth looks like. So I mean, that could be another abstraction. I think the key is like you said, not overwhelm people, but it's more that these are the atomic units, and if you want, we have some customized recipes for you. So
totally.
Yeah. What were you thinking? You have any ideas where
No, I mean, I like that, like short something where it's like 30 seconds or under, where you select a host, and then you probably like, once you kind of know that these are the two hosts that you want to use, then you can just preview. And maybe that preview is like, I know I mentioned, hey, maybe you need to generate the audio and then you preview it, but maybe it's just like you click preview, it generates it, maybe streams it down or does something, like just feels a little bit quick, where the user doesn't have to think about it. I don't know. And
I think it'd be cool.
This backstory. Sorry.
No, go. Sorry, I thought you. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say and there's also the host backstory. So I
Yeah.
mean, there could be something where we use both those host backstories and then rather
And
than
generate the
like,
script based on that. I mean, that could work too. Actually, I like that idea. Actually, that's probably more dynamic versus hardcore that you first like almost as pre-processing stuff where you're like based on these backstories and some examples and stuff, give us a quick
right,
10-15 second conversation and then stream that. Yeah.
because that's kind of
Yeah.
what the hosts today when you're generating that preview. So after you generate a host
Hmm.
and you save it, you get a voice preview of
Hmm.
that host, and essentially that's created based on the backstory. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
a 10-second little clip
Right.
that
Right.
use the backstory that what you
Yeah.
hey I am John Smith and I am a lumberjack that grew up
Right.
in rural America.
Hmm.
Um, so
Oh,
yeah,
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
I
No,
think
like
I
that.
think I'm gonna push it like even to maybe even crazier level. I love all of what you're saying, but if you could even pull in the podcast name and title, and it became
Mm.
like and it functioned as almost like a trailer, right? So imagine a user now.
Ah,
A
yes.
user could make 3 different podcasts without making a single episode. They make 3 podcasts. They get 3 trailers, and they go out and post on their social. Hey,
Right.
I'm gonna make one of these 3 podcasts. Which do you want? And like
Mm.
and if instead of just being just a proof of concept, the audio was hyping up the podcast
Got
from
it.
the perspective of the 2 guests. Um,
Interesting. I'm curious, like where that step lies. Is that because we have that podcast creation step where you have the title, the description, then you have a host picker, and then
right.
you hit create podcast. So are you saying there'll be like a preview, like first we hit create and we show them teaser, and then they kind of select um, a branch that they kind of like from there, or that's just a different flow?
it
Um,
could be that, or just like a preview button on the podcast creation page after
ah,
you've selected the
got it.
hosts,
Yeah,
like a trailer button, like a create
right.
trailer or something that
Because
people, yeah,
because I think it's interesting here because you bring up a good point around the use case, right? It's like one of them is short, helps you pick the right host. One of them is you've already picked the hosts
Right.
and you create a trailer. And
Yeah.
so I think it's like there's a quick thing that's probably around the previews of hosts. And then there's another thing like a fast follow or another work item that is a little bit more permanent where
Yes.
it becomes the podcast. Because also, if you start to do that, you have to think a lot of times people will go into the podcast and swap out hosts. So you
Yeah.
have 2 hosts, and then you maybe one day you're just like, I don't want this host anymore. I'm going to swap in. I want to swap
Hmm.
in John for Susie,
Right.
and then you have to think about, okay, should the trailer change then for that podcast if that's
Yes.
persistent, and how you're going to store that, and
Yeah.
all of the complexity that those edge cases
Yeah.
could introduce.
Right. I
So
think I like what you're both of you guys are saying, because I think actually Jason's point, I think actually there are 2 different use cases, like what Pearson identified is like, first is what was our primary goal when we first started was like, oh, people just want a preview of how these 2 hosts sound. That's like one problem case, and maybe that lives on that case. But the other one, which Jason mentioned, which I actually think is a great idea, is like people want teasers of what a podcast looks like. And I almost wonder maybe because we have that podcast generator lead funnel free page, maybe that's where you generate. We right now we just stream and we generate a text. Maybe we generate the teaser trailers there, and then people can pick one, and that takes them to a pre-filled page with those 2 hosts
yeah,
already there or
That
something.
but
Yeah.
that's also that's also
Yeah.
cool. I feel like all of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing 3 things now. I'm hearing
Yeah.
you're helping people pick 2 hosts. People have picked 2 hosts, and you're gonna make a trailer. And now we're gonna like kind of one shot the whole thing and go from idea to teaser, ungated. So
right,
that's great.
right.
Yeah, that's like it's like run wild. I'm always gonna be just like I'm Team Bilal. So whatever team wherever Bilal wants to go, I'm
It's a
go.
it's the cool thing about this is like when it's 3 of us, there's going to be a tension that's a good tension. It's like
Yeah.
somebody goes and somebody pulls and somebody pushes
Mm.
and then at the end of the day, you just like you everybody's opinions, they get merged together, and it's like Jason has this, throws this into the mix. Bilal's this, throws that into the mix. Pearson's this, throws into the mix without overburdened. Like just like go do the things. And
Right.
here's like my feedback on this. Take that feedback, with a grain of salt and do what you think is best.
No, I love
So
it. I love it.
I see this chat, so that we got some action in the chat going on. So Fudo, if you're still there, thanks for the comments. I see that one of the comments you say, I can't at the moment use the generated podcasts the way they're generated and post it directly from Jellypod to Spotify. You have to download it and add music and so on. If you're still there, I would love to know a little bit more detail about like what exactly edits you're doing. Right now, I'm working on building out improved transcript editor that, in addition to those regenerations, you'll be able to insert music between speech blocks. So if you have a real sort of thing, like a real traditionally recorded is the word that we like to say, traditionally recorded piece of audio, you want to put it into your AI generated podcast, you can drag and drop it in and it'll just kind of work. You just drag it where you want it to live between what text. It'll just appear there. Intro, outro music will still stay. And there'll be like other things that we're looking to add and fast follow on. And if you're still there, Fudo, like I would love to know a little bit more about what you're actually doing on the editing so that we can, build something for you.
I like that. Just to clarify, person, like when if there's going to be a transition like music between blocks, like isn't that an intro and outro basically a specific form of that? And so is it like better to think of as transition, and
Right.
then that just happens to be at the beginning,
Correct.
at the end, versus having a special intro or special outro? Even though I know those are the two most common probably use cases, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly how I'm thinking about it. It's like I'm kind of refactoring this down. So you have just, when you click the add intro music, all it's doing is just giving you a better way to add music to the front and a better way to add music to the outro at the
Right.
end. Still the same structure. So it's essentially just more simplified. You can add music anywhere, but those
Right.
two buttons will just help you more easily add it to the beginning and add it to the end.
Right. Makes sense.
So that's that. And then also, like, this gives us the flexibility. I know there's been some comments around, hey, I added intro music. The intro music's too loud compared to the text or the podcast. We try to do some dynamic volume adjustments when you do that, but this just allows us to give you more flexibility to make the music quieter, the podcast louder. Yeah, Fudo. If you share the podcast link in the chat, like I'll take a look. We'll post it up here. So,
and one more thing, Fudo, just for your use case, currently there's the ability. I'm not sure if you've seen this, to upload an episode. So if you download the MP3, make your edits, you can go to Spotify directly if you'd like, or you can upload it directly onto your Jellypod RSS, and then that'll handle it as well. The main thing will just be the existing episode. You'd probably have to, delete. So maybe you have like, yeah, there's some workarounds basically. And if you want more details on this, feel free to reach out an intercom or what have you. But I'm really excited about this audio in between speech blocks thing. I mean, people have asked for some cool things. We have people who make meditation podcasts. They're like gurus. They want to be able to add like a 30-second meditation break between some of the things that they're saying. That's a cool one. One person yesterday wants to be interviewed by AI. So they want to create, their co-host, but then they want to like verbally respond. So this will be a way to stitch that in.
And ads probably too, right? I think I saw a feature for that, or
people have asked for ad insertion, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, the list goes on and on. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right. It's kind of like that philosophy is, hey, what can we build that opens up the aperture? What can we build that makes it easy for users to kind of build on top of? So like, yeah, ads, voiceovers.
But I love this discussion because I mean, the way you're thinking about it is instead of 3 different features, it's really just one block, and it just happens. And if you build it that way, it's easy to add. Oh, this is a music block, or a ad block, or a meditation block. I didn't even think about meditation break, but yeah, I mean, but rather than one off, it's better to have a template, and then you can have these variations. So I like
Totally.
how we're approaching this.
Totally. No, I'm excited. Hopefully this will, I don't want to give a timeline on this. There's a migration effort that it's going to be a little bit difficult to do. So we just have to think about it. But the regens and all this stuff is coming very soon.
Very exciting.
I see another comment. Will it be possible? Let's just show it. Will it be possible to determine the length of each chapter on the podcast? If you're still here, hopefully, but it's interesting. I think length is one of those things where you don't know. I mean, you could give like a short, medium, long. I don't know how prescriptive we want users to. It's a hard thing. It's like, can we derive the length of that chapter from your outline? That's the golden state. Like, you give us information in the outline, in the chapter, in those bullets. You put more bullets, the chapter's going to be longer. You put one bullet, it's going to be shorter. And I think that we want to, as best as possible, eliminate the need for you to spend some brain power and think about how long should the chapter be. You just kind of tell us what you want the chapter to be about, and we'll do our best job or our best guess at the duration. Right now, every chapter is about 3 minutes or so, because we default to, I think, 3 or 4 bullet points per episode chapter. So if you add more or less, it'll change. But yeah, so
and you can always like kind of, our vision's always been that like ideal podcast is around 10 minutes long, so you can get that down to 3 minutes with just one chapter, and then you can kind of chop at it even further with the transcript editor if you'd like. So we like to think that it's possible. We're just not sure which use case to optimize for. Out of curiosity, we always envision these AI podcasts to be 10 minutes long. Do people envision them to be longer or shorter? Like, does anybody, are people like, ooh, I want 30-minute AI podcasts, or are people like, I want?
We saw that one. We saw that one 30-minute one the other day that was causing the render video failure. So if you're watching this and sorry, who was that? Who was that user?
I think I know her name, but I don't want to.
Let's keep her private though. But just that was because it was so long when we were rendering that video. It was just causing issues we weren't expecting. But hopefully they're fixed. Hopefully. But
oh, cool. There's a lot. We got more messages. Let's see if we have any more at the top before going to the bottom. Nope.
H Branch, nice to see you. I think you've been here before. Great to see you again. Oh yeah, 3-minute podcast even. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like one chapter, just put one chapter in. I'm curious. What are you with a 3-minute podcast? What are you creating? If you want to share. A religious podcast for inmates. That's about 15 minutes. That's interesting. Uh-huh. Super cool.
Yeah.
Fudo, 10 to 15 minutes is fine. I mean, it seems like we're right around there. So
I make like the feature announcements. Whenever we launch a new feature, I make a podcast about it. You can follow it on Spotify if you'd like, and on YouTube. And they're 3 minutes. I try to keep, the marketing stuff to short and tight.
There's this other one, Career Explorer. Is there a 2-person video podcast on Jellypod Roadmap? So this will be. I'm not going to commit to anything here. I have opinions personally about this, about AI avatars. It's an interesting conversation. I think some people want it. Do people really want it? Do people just want engaging video? Personally, my opinion right now, and I think Bilal's on the other side of this, so it's an interesting perspective. My personal opinion is when I'm watching something, if they're AI, I don't care as much as the person there, the avatar. I care about something that is visually engaging. Audiograms is not there. It's like it's good enough for like a stepping stone, like what we have. But I would much rather have. I think if you're talking about like this, a religious podcast for inmates, for example, Are there graphics or are there videos that we can pull in and create an actual video that's more engaging than just AI avatars or people talking? And I think that's where like we could really unlock something cool where it's actually complementary to the audio versus just
Mm,
like something to look at, just like audiograms are.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
No, I agree with it. I feel like uh, I think of it like I think the way you said is that there's two types of videos. There's B-roll, which I think you mentioned, which I think is probably, and then there's obviously A-roll, which would be like avatars talking. B-roll is closer because I mean that's the problem there is just matching the right video with the right audio snippet, and that's an easier problem versus the second one, which is you actually have to animate an AI avatar and the current state, which is available to us. And I say that because I'm going to come back to a second, which is available to us. It's kind of uncanny and it's almost weird where the mouth kind of moves, but you can see a little blur and stuff, and that can put people off. So to Pearson's point, now I feel like we do get to a point where that's good enough. I shared with you guys like
Right.
a video. I feel like that's gonna come pretty soon, and when it does come, I think it's something we should reconsider at that point,
Totally.
because when it actually looks human and stuff, maybe the uncanny valley goes away.
Right.
But maybe we start with the b-roll, like you said, like about the problem of showing videos about the right b-roll footage with the audio. Maybe that's an easier problem to take on first.
Absolutely. No, I
I'll,
completely-
I'll take the middle of the road stance. Both are great. I think. I mean, it makes total sense. Like the visuals have to aid in the storytelling,
Right.
but the faces moving in a canny way are engaging. So, like the same way that webinars have been for a while, there might be the focal point, which is a presentation or videos or what have you. But then maybe you have like avatars to the side. If you've seen one of the walkthrough videos that I make, you have a face kind of on the side, so it's engaging, but it's not like you're not
Mhm.
watching my face when you're watching a product demo,
Right.
but it still adds to it in some weird way.
Yes.
So maybe there's a cool hybrid approach
Yeah.
as things get better.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I mean, the golden state, I think, is two AI people talking and then having B-roll footage cut in at the exact right time. I mean, that's basically state of the art. Like, Joe Rogan, like Jamie, pull that up. Like,
Right.
like you can do that. Like, if you get there, that's gold. I feel like that's definitely the North Star.
Totally. I completely agree. Wait, Bilal, I think on the James Brown. So James Brown saying here, any updates to the traditional podcast where we can schedule a post or upload a video of our own via the traditional podcast, also a transcript? I don't know entirely what you're saying on the second part here. Upload a video.
I think he wants to upload video where we allow
Oh.
upload episodes, where we allow upload MP3. He wants to be able to do his own
Video.
MP4 video.
Right.
That's interesting, because then it's like that's interesting. Also,
Oh,
hi
can
James.
you show
I've
this
met James. I've
question?
met James before. He's one of our he's a great customer of ours.
There we go.
Doing some cool
And then-
stuff.
And below, you could also see it on the right hand side. There's a chat bar.
Yeah. I was just couldn't find the exact chat, and probably for the audience members, it's good to see it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Upload a video for our own via. Also, okay. Where we
Yeah,
can schedule a post, upload a video for our own. Yeah, scheduling is something I think it's on my backlog. So hopefully we'll have. No, I won't commit.
Yeah, don't commit. No.
but
Yes.
hopefully soon.
Sweet. Cool. And let's see. We got some awesome engagement today. This is great, guys. I love it. That's okay. So, would the type of host also affect chapter duration? Ooh, sorry. Did you click that? My bad.
I should have. That's been my day today. I've been jumping the gun on everything today.
Too
no,
much
we're good.
coffee.
The type of hosts also affect chapter duration. That's a good question. I mean, the backstory influences the script. And if you put something in the backstory, it's like, hey, they're super talkative. They always try to cut off the other host, or they're really excited, or something like that. It probably would affect how their interaction is. It would, in fact, impact how their interaction is. But duration is an interesting thing. We'll be
Anecdotally, when I do tell them to be very short and punchy, and they trade little like 5-word back and forths, I think that there isn't an increase in speech blocks that is like commensurate to the reduction in the speech block size. So in other words, I think that yes, by making them short and punchy, they say less in a chapter, which means that the chapters are shorter.
Hmm.
But yeah, it depends if it's talkative, like short sentences back and forth talkative, then I think it shortens it. But if it's like verbose and you spend a lot of time of uninterrupted talking, then it would be longer.
Right.
Hmm.
And this is purely on like vibes and how we've noticed the system performing. Like there's nothing that we've explicitly said that like allows you to change the type of a host to make it longer or shorter. It's just like, can you get it to do something potentially? So
Hmm.
And this is a thing that I think I forgot about, because this is something that we used to use a lot in the old days of like the earliest pre-launched Jellypod. But the sources can still be used to very much impact things. So you can add in a text idea source that's almost like a prompt or something for the host to focus on beyond just being the substantial content of the discussion.
right.
So you can say like talk shorter, or
Right.
there's no guarantees with that kind of stuff, but a way to guide it.
Totally. Let's just get through these comments. I mean, let's see. I like the 2-person with it. Cool. Hybrid approach. Did I miss something? Nope. Okay. Another thing. This might be a big one, but I'll show it. Only one try to clone your voice. It would be great if able to update it at least once in case the recording was not good enough.
Oh, I thought you could. You just have to delete it. I mean,
You start off wholesale with a new clone. It's like a delete and try again. The way Fudo I've been getting around this with my own stuff is I'll sometimes like record off platform, and let me know. Actually, I can also, if you message me in support, I can also be of help for the recordings you've already done. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll record some stuff, put in a 2-minute, 1-minute samples, let's say, do it, not like it as much, record a third one, and then recreate a new clone with the old 3 files. But yes, if you record in Jellypod, then right now those recordings you can't reuse automatically in product. But just message me and I can help.
Right. And what's interesting here too is like, so you can, if you create your voice clone, you can edit the voice clone, but you don't get those same recordings saved. Those just aren't saved. It just creates the voice clone and those recordings go away. In our guest clone feature that we released last week, or 2 weeks ago now, that actually cloning experience is a little bit better. So you can preview your voice clone prior to saving. We want to bring that over into this. There's some improvements that we can make. So into the in-app host creation experience for cloning that brings over kind of that guest cloning experience, which is better. We started off with host clones as one of those core things that we launched 3 months ago when we first came out with Jellypod. And we learned from that. And when we're building the invite guests host cloning, we just took what we had and we improved on it. But now we have to go back and say, hey, we built this better over here. Let's bring what we learned over here back to that original state of host cloning. So it's all kind of equivalent, both as good as each other. So
yeah.
I don't know if that made sense to you, Bilal, because I don't know if you've gone into the.
I did play around with it yesterday when I was doing the Tinkerers podcast about editing. But yeah, I mean, I think I need to see the guest cloning thing to
Sweet.
Understand more. But yeah,
you can use guest clones on yourself. You can make your link and send it to yourself if you really want to. Be your own guest.
Fun, though. It's kind of annoying. You can do it though. You can. So I guess this is the hack. I mean, 8 people are online right now. If you watch this video and you want an extra clone, don't quote me on this, but you could just send yourself the link on the guest clone, because everyone gets one guest clone in addition to the cloning. So
there you go.
So that's an Easter egg for everybody that comes to Weekly Wednesdays. So come back next week and maybe we will share another tip. So
love it.
Totally. And then one last thing from Fudo. Yeah, the range is the hardest thing to do with clones. It's clones. We call them clones, but they're often more impressionists or mimics. They mimic what you give in. So if you want high energy, you can go in high energy. If you want, smooth and steady, then you can do smooth and steady. But to do both, it might mimic the middle, and things like that, where it can be hard to say which part is you, which part is not. The one thing that I do know for sure is the number one thing to avoid is long pauses or ums and uhs in your content, because then the voice clone thinks that you're, in 3 minutes, if you say a bunch of ums and ahs, it's going to make sure that comes with it.
Right. Makes sense.
Cool. Well, I know we went over a little bit for everybody on the stream, but this is awesome. I loved all the conversation that was going on. So if you're not in the Discord, hop in the Discord for everybody out there. A lot of new things coming out in the pipeline. If you haven't created a voice clone in the past, there's been some improvements to that over the last 24 hours. So create a new one. Let us know what you think. And we do these every Wednesday. Sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
And I was going to say one last thing I forgot that just launched this morning. If you go to jellypod.ai/customer-stories, there are now 4 customer stories. There are video interviews with our customers that are beginning to appear. So there's 4 really cool ones, and they run the full gambit of what personalized podcasts or what AI podcasts can be. So if you're looking for inspiration, you're looking to see, okay, what frontiers are people pushing? We're launching 2 new customer stories every week. So come to that page, check it out.
Awesome. Great. Cool. Well, we'll end it here. Join us next week on our next weekly Wednesday. And can't wait to see what everybody creates. So.
All right. Bye, guys.